Okay, Mr. Orozco, if you'll open the meeting, we'll get moving.
Okay, we can call the meeting to order. Mobile home rent control, Howell Township.
Okay, opening statement. Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Mobile Home Rent Stabilization and Control Board of the Township of Howell was provided for in the following manner. By the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 8th, 2021, by the forwarding of a copy of said notice to the Asbury Park Press, Tri-Town News, and the Star Ledger on January 8th, 2021, by filing a copy of said notice with the Township Clerk's Office on January 8th, 2021. Public participation at this meeting is permitted upon invitation of the chairperson. Roll call. Mr. Orozco?
Here.
Ms. Casper?
Here.
Mr. Denoya?
Here.
Ms. Jordan?
Here.
Mr. Stanton?
Here.
Mr. Rouet?
Here.
Ms. Comas?
Here.
Ms. Farkas?
Here.
Did I miss anyone?
I think that's it.
Okay, please, can we all stand and salute the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible.
liberty, and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Can we have any, do we have any minutes?
Yes, we have the minutes from December 9th of 2020 for acceptance. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Who can
to approve
second?
minutes.
I'll second
Joan
it.
Farkas, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
And I'll second.
And your name, sir? I'm sorry.
William Stanton.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Mr. Orozco?
Yes, here.
You know what? You weren't present for the meeting last year. Is that correct, in December?
Yes, I was in December.
You were there.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ms.
Okay.
Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Denoya? You're muted, Mr. Denoya.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Jordan?
I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Mr. Stanton?
I also was not at the meeting.
Okay. Mr. Rouet?
I'm an alternate for tonight, but I was at that meeting and would vote to approve them.
Okay. And the rest on my list are two alternates. Joe,
Yeah.
am I asking them as well?
I don't, who were the alternates and were they at the meeting?
I have Ms. Comas and Ms. Farkas.
Were either of you at the December meeting of the?
No,
No.
I was not at the meeting.
Not, so that's why I'm not approving any of the meetings, the minutes.
Right.
Okay,
So they won't be voting then.
okay. That's it then. Thank you.
Any correspondence?
There was a vacancy decontrol notice for Oak Hill and Winding Brook.
Any old business?
No.
Okay. Before going to the hearing, do you have any questions, any concerns? No? Okay. Now, the hearing, Mr. Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Hanlon. I'm an attorney from Freehold with the law firm of Hanlon, Neiman and Wright. I'm here tonight representing the Winding Brook Mobile Home Park. We've filed a application for an annual increase, cost of living increase. The ordinance allows up to 5%, and we're requesting up to 5%. I do have one witness, Mr. Charles Maida, who is a representative of the mobile home park. So if he can be sworn in, I can have him testify. Before I get to that, Mr. Clark, we did send over a certification of service. Are we okay with that?
Yes, we are. We are.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Maida, would you raise your
Uh,
hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Would you state, you're on mute, Mr. Maida.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. Would you raise your right hand?
Yes,
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Would you state your name and professional address for the record, please?
Charles Jason Maida, and the address is 1081 Lakewood Farmingdale Road, Howell, New Jersey, 07731.
Okay, Mr. Hanlon.
Thank you. Before I go, Mr. Chairman, there are many new board members, which is a great thing. It's always good to have a packed board. I just don't know everybody, so I don't know if any of them are residents in Winding Brook. So if they're not, we're good to go. If they are, I would request that they recuse themselves.
No,
Okay,
No,
good. Thank you.
Not a resident.
not a resident.
Okay, thanks. All right, Mr. Maida, what is your relationship to the Winding Brook Mobile Home Park?
I am one of the managers, and I am also a resident of the park.
Okay, so as one of the managers, what are your responsibilities?
Well, we manage the day-to-day activities of the park. We do scheduling, rent collections, notices to tenants. We schedule repairs, and a lot of office work as well.
You answered my question. I asked about you, and your answer was about we. This is a family-run operation, correct?
Yes, it has been for since 1958.
1958. Okay. And who else is involved in the operation of the mobile home park?
My cousin Christopher is my co-manager. We manage the business together. Our fathers are the owners of the park. My father, his father, and another brother, Phil.
Okay. Are you familiar with the application we filed before the board?
Yes, I am.
Did you prepare it?
Yes.
Does it accurately list the rents that are currently charged in the mobile home park?
Yes, it does.
And are the other numbers contained in it? We're going to talk about some deductions from gross rent to get to base rent. Are all of those facts and numbers based upon operating expenses reflected by the books and records of the corporation?
Yes, they are.
How many sites are in the mobile home park?
150.
Okay, and let's explain this because there are some new members, and if new members know all of this, I apologize, but I also want to make sure you're getting all the information you need to make a decision.
Can I just jump in?
Explain.
Yes. You want to mark the application as Exhibit A1?
Yes.
Okay. And then just for a little housekeeping, the expenses that were submitted, should we label that as A2?
That's fine with me.
Okay. And why don't we make it, yeah, A2. And then the CPI information will make A3.
Okay.
Okay.
And then our certification certificate, do you want to mark that also?
Yes, the CERTA service will do A4.
Thank you. And since we're remote, you'll do all the markings?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, so back to my questioning. Let's explain the nature of the relationship between you and the tenants. In this mobile home community, all the tenants own their own mobile homes, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and you rent a space that's prepared and set up for connection to utilities to those tenants, right?
That is also correct.
So if the rent board members look at our application, which lists the rent, all those rents are lot rents only, right?
Yes,
The tenants buy their own homes. Some of them may have more monthly payments for the home. Some of them may own them outright. That's all different, but that's all separate from your operation, correct?
yes, correct.
All right. And then what utilities are included in the rent? So let's talk about sewer first. Is there public sewer available for the mobile home sites in this park?
Well, yes, we have 136 sewer lots and 14 lots that are on septic.
Okay, and is that because part of the park is across a road and public sewer doesn't go over there?
Yes,
Okay, and that would be reflected in the application because your sewer charges are actually deducted from gross rent to arrive at base rent in the application, right?
yes,
All right, so the lots where there is no deduction for sewer, those are the ones that are on septic.
yes,
How about water? Is water included in the rent?
yes.
Is it public water or well water?
It's well water.
Who operates, and the well system is regulated by the DEP, correct?
Yes, it is. We have 2 wells, actually.
Okay, so under the applicable DEP regulations, you're regulated as what's considered a public supplier of water, correct?
Yes,
And as indicated, that water supply is included in the lot rent.
correct.
Solid waste removal. So garbage pickup and recycling, is that provided for as part of the rent?
Yes, it is.
All right,
Yes.
so you pay the contractors directly. You pay the contractors directly for that service?
Yes. Yes, that was waste
And
management.
in addition, waste management, okay. In addition, you have dumpsters that are available year round for the tenants, correct?
Yes, we have on-demand pickup. We have our own dumpster that is for the tenants' use.
And so they have bulk waste pickup 365 days a year.
Yes, correct.
And the way the rent ordinance works, the only increases in income you can get for the operation of this business is by virtue of increases approved under this rent control ordinance, correct?
Yes,
Okay, now the mobile home park operation is also licensed by Howell Township, is that correct?
correct.
And in order to get your license every year, you have to go through an inspection protocol.
Yes, we do.
Do you have your license for 2021?
We do.
And does that mean you passed all county and municipal inspections?
Yes, we have.
Are you aware of any code violations which exist in the mobile home park today?
No,
Now, the rent increase we're seeking is 5%, and it's 5% of base rent, correct?
that is correct.
And the base rent for every rent category, and you have many rent categories, the base rent for every rent category is set forth in detail in the application and computed to the penny, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
So for example, if I can look at one of those, whoops, bear with me. We go to the rent chart, which unfortunately is inverted, so it's sideways, but nevertheless, we can just turn the page. The first rent level in your rent chart is 524.42. That's a gross rent that someone's paying for their lot rent today, correct?
Yes,
And you're looking for 5% of base rent. The specific increase you're asking for that lot is $22.15 per month.
correct.
And that would result, if the board approves that increase, in a new rent of $546.57.
That is correct, yes.
All right, I'm not going to take you through every rent category. I just wanted to go through one so the board could follow the computations. There was I'm sure we'll mark this when we get to the public portion of this, but there was one tenant who sent in a letter objecting to the rent increase. She actually computed what she thought was going to be her rent increase on gross rent, correct?
Yes, that was 5% of the entire rent, not the base rent.
Okay, so even though she'll probably, and we understand her objection, she'll probably object to the lower amount, but the amount of her rent increase is not what she even thinks it's going to be. It's going to be 5% of base rent if the board approves the percentage.
Yes.
All right. The ordinance allows the board to consider, in addition to the consumer price index data, which we've submitted, additional factors. And you've submitted what you consider to be examples of some extraordinary expenses for the board's consideration. That's an exhibit which Mr. Clark was good enough to mark as Exhibit A2 for us. I'm going to ask you to go through that exhibit to describe what those expenses are. I assume the board members, and I apologize for this, you all have copies of that available?
Expenses?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask him to go through here. Obviously, the chairman is the boss on this, but we certainly have no objection if someone has a question about a particular invoice while we're doing it, to just interrupt us and ask your question, because we
Okay.
want to make sure you appreciate our exhibits, and I think that's the best way, if the chairman allows it. So go ahead, Mr. Maida. Why don't you start? The first one is Aaron's Tree Service. Explain why that, what type of expense that is, why it's related to the mobile home park operation, and why it's extraordinary.
Well, I believe it's extraordinary because it's not something that happens. It's not something we do regularly. It's not a bill that comes every month. This is we had a little windstorm at one point, and a few branches were broken in the tops of two very old oak trees, and they were very high up in the trees, and we were worried that if one of them fell, it could land on someone or their car or something like that. So we called in a tree service to have them removed.
Okay. I'll go through these somewhat quickly because we are pressed for time. Again, interrupt me, board members, if you want to focus on anything. The next one is Central Jersey security cameras. Explain why that was a necessary expense for the operation of this business.
Well, there was two reasons for that. The first reason is that we have, as we stated before, a dumpster located on the property, and that dumpster was being used by outside companies to help their own businesses. They were filling the dumpster completely and then leaving large amounts of trash around the dumpster. And we kept paying to have it removed, but when we realized it wasn't actually our tenants that were filling it, we installed a security camera to watch the dumpster. And the second reason was that our office didn't have an alarm system before, and now we're handling about $35,000 in cash each month. And we can't do a deposit every day, and it's the tenant's money. So we figured, we should have a security system in the office as well.
Has the camera worked to help you with the problem of outside people using that dumpster service that you have for your tenants?
Yes, it has. A few days after we installed this camera system, we observed a water cleanup company. They basically specialized in flood cleanups. And they were stacking mattresses and furniture all around our dumpster. And we caught them, and I contacted the company, and they apologized, and they came out and picked up everything that they had dumped off, and they have not been back since.
And let's go back to the security concern about handling cash. Is taking cash from your tenants, does it benefit them?
Oh yes, makes their life easier. They don't have to go get a money order somewhere. It's much more convenient for them. They don't have to have a bank account. Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Again,
May I ask a question?
Of course.
I apologize, and please, my question is, where were the dumpsters located? They're in the facility, or they're more towards the outside of the perimeter of, where are these dumpsters located on the facility?
They're behind the office on Phillips Street. We have one small section of the park with about 14 homes and our office. And it's located there's like a horseshoe that goes around Phillips Street. It's kind of a horseshoe.
Mhm.
At the back of the horseshoe, and the homes, they don't come right up to the dumpster. There's a good maybe 150 feet on each side of the dumpster, before.
So basically they were coming into the development?
Yes.
You're telling me people were coming in, or they're coming from the back where they're not,
No,
there's no security fencing?
No, there's no fencing there because there are high power lines there, and we're not allowed to build anything on there. We can put things there, but they have to be removable. So
Okay.
but we just have the dumpster there, and it's out of the way spot where the tenants don't have to see it all the time.
How long have the dumpsters been there?
As far as I know, it's been there at least 7 years.
And how long has this problem been occurring?
The problem started, I want to say, about 6 to 9 months ago. We started noticing a lot more furniture and mattresses and
Okay.
end tables and things like that. And it was just such a volume of it that we realized eventually that this couldn't be our tenants doing this. So
Okay.
that's
All
when we
right.
started looking into it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I've moved on to, I think it's the third page, which is Wild Stone Outdoor invoice dated January 10th. Explain that one, please.
Yes, this is $351 for pickup of trash and take it to the recycling center. That's basically trash that was left around our dumpster. So that was money we spent over and above than we would for like our waste management. They pick it up twice a month, but we had to basically have a company come out and pick up. There was so much stuff around the dumpster that we had to hire a company to come out and do it, take it away.
Okay, may I ask another question? I apologize.
Sure.
Don't
these three-
apologize. We want you to ask questions.
Okay, these three bills that you're asking, that it's due for security, due for things that you were worried about, you're accruing this onto your tenants? You're making them pay for them? This is why is the 5% increase?
Well, we're not making them pay for it. What the concept of the ordinance is to have the board determine what a percentage increase would be under appropriate circumstances. And part of the presentation that we've made for most of the properties historically is just to demonstrate that the landlords are going, the extra mile to make sure they're providing adequate maintenance. So there's no dollar for dollar translation where we're quote unquote imposing this cost on the tenants. It's part of our demonstration that we're good landlords and we're providing what we're supposed to be providing for the tenants who are paying their rent.
I understand, but this is stuff that should be provided without accruing it to the tenant. So
Well, yeah, everything we provide should be provided to the tenants as part of their rent. The question is, how do we deal with the fact that those costs go up? Just like your costs go up, everyone's costs go up. And as indicated earlier, we get no additional income at all except for this trip to the rent board and the vacancy decontrol adjustments when tenants move out, and that's capped at 5%. So if we don't get some relief from increase in expenses this way, we don't get it at all. And the rent control is a good idea. It protects the tenants. We're not against it, but consistent with that, and you understand this, every living situation is a two-way street. Tenants demand and deserve maintenance, good service, good roads, garbage, good utilities, etc. But someone's got to pay for that.
I understand. I do understand, but certain things that, like a hazard, yes, that I understand. I don't think a tenant should incur that. In addition, you felt security, which yes, you're dealing with money, you're dealing with other additional people coming in to the property. I don't think that, maybe my theory is different. I don't think a tenant should accrue that. I think that they should have had this prior, because yes, they're dealing with multiple monies being on the premises. In addition, when I'm looking at these these invoices, I don't see all of them being paid. Some of them say estimate, some of them say balance due. So basically, these are still outstanding invoices that are prior.
You can answer that question, Mr. Maida.
All these have been paid. I may have included estimates by accident, but all of these bills have been paid.
Because I don't see, some of them do say paid, some of them don't say paid. So I apologize, because technically, you know, you're telling me you include these, or you're just waiting for monies to be given. So if there is an increase, then you could finalizing in payment, but.
Well, no, that's not what we're suggesting at all. That wouldn't be right.
I understand that, but that's, if you see my point of view, if you see it from a different angle, basically that's what I'm seeing it from. So I apologize if I'm construing this a little different than you guys are, but I'm looking at things that some things don't even, some have estimates, some do say paid. Yes, they do say paid. I did go through them. Some say estimates, some do say balance. None of them, nowhere on it I see paid. So go ahead.
Can I say something?
Wait. These are great questions, okay? We want you to understand the documents. My client's sworn testimony is that they're paid. In the past, this is how we proceeded before the rent board. If the rent board wants a higher degree of proofs, meaning, you know, canceled checks or proof of payment, we'd be happy to supply that. But right now, the evidence is my client's testimony, they're paid.
Well, that's up to Joe Clark, how he would like to proceed, because my theory is if you're going to submit documentation, and I understand your client sworn testimony, if he had time to give this, he had time to show all the documents paid. Because when I show a document, I write paid, I write the check number, I write what I write. Because you know what? When someone comes back at me, that's the first thing I show is a canceled check. I'm sorry, if we're going off someone's sworn testimony, I understand that. But if you're gonna take the time out and put estimates, put paid on it, put expenses, then you have the time to put a canceled check on which one you paid, and it showed paid or a statement. I get that. I understand that. But that's how I know things are paid. But maybe I'm wrong in how everybody functions. So.
I handle it a little differently myself. This is Cindy Jordan, by the way. I actually attached a copy of my check to each invoice, because who's to say who's going to write anything on it?
Thank you.
And that way there, it's like, well, if you don't want to take testimony over, it could be, let's just write on it. But when you go and you mail a check to someone, they're not going to send you back a copy with their stamp on it saying paid.
No, but you know what you sent a check number, or you know you have a canceled money order, you have a canceled certified check, because I know if I don't show that proof, I'm going off of by me. But please, guys, continue. But these are my questions why I bring them up. There's certain things that don't jive with me. Maybe everybody else is different than I am, but do please continue. If the chairman feels different and Mr. Clark feels different, please do intervene and advise me accordingly. I just want to be, I just want to prove a point.
I understand your point. I think because the technical rules of evidence don't apply to these types of proceedings. I mean, it goes to the weight of the evidence. You're free to accept or reject it. Mr. Maida's sworn testimony under oath is that they were paid. It's one portion of the overall application. And so, you know, it's up to the board to decide how much weight it wants to get. I mean, certainly some of them are marked paid. So, you know, whether or not that's adequate proof in the board's mind is up to the board. And again, like I said, it goes to the weight, but Mr. Maida's testimony is that they've been paid.
Okay.
We can continue then with the application.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm on, I guess it's the 5th page now. Another Wide Stone Outdoor Services invoice from November of 2020. Are you with me, Mr. Maida?
Yes, I am.
All right, explain that one, please.
This is from 12/4/20. The date.
Mine is estimate 1073, date 11/4/20.
Okay, it was for 1950.
Yes. So
Okay.
did I skip one?
Yeah, no, I might have reshuffled them when I was looking through them. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, the blow leaves, take 2 pieces of concrete and recycle in place. Okay. We increased the number of times that we clean up the park a year. We used to do it once a year. We do it twice a year now. And we also have a leaf pickup. And this was done to remove the leaves from the park. And then we had a brick kind of decorative wall next to the laundromat, and a drunk driver veered off the road one night and basically destroyed it. And we removed everything we could except for these 2 large squares of concrete that we just couldn't move. And we had the landscaping company remove those 2 pieces of concrete while they were removing the leaves in the park.
Okay, next.
The next invoice?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's for 1625. It was dated 9/4/2020. That's one of our street cleanups. They basically remove the weeds. They blow away any debris. They also pick up the trash if they find any along the way. That's basically to clean up the park and just make it look nice. And yeah, that's one of the 2 that we do a year.
Okay, the next one appears to be referencing estimate 1049.
Yeah, that was an estimate for the one we just covered. Yeah. The next one will be 4900. That's estimate 1071 on 10/5/2020. This is an area we're going to be decommissioning 4 homes. The lots are not going to be used anymore. There was a surveying error in either the early or late 1960s, and it actually turned out that a few of our homes were on the property next door, and the owner of the property wanted us to remove the homes. So that's basically what we did. We we took down sheds, 2 decks that were out there, clear 1 mobile home. Yeah, one of the mobile homes was owned by it was a hoarding situation. The home was literally filled completely with debris, and we had that done while they were cleaning up the yards and taking away debris and cutting up these decks and the shed, basically.
What happened to the residents in those homes?
They either passed away or moved away, and we bought them up over a couple of years' time. That's going to become a green area for the residents after this. We're going to remove the homes. We're not going to be putting new homes on it. So that area is going to be cleared, and then it's just going to be grass, basically.
Okay.
Could I just ask a question on that? I'm a little confused because you needed to pull it down because according to the survey, it's not your property, but now you're saying it's going to be a green area for your residents. So
Well, yeah.
is it your property or not your property?
Well, like I said, most of it is our property, but part of the homes did hang on to over
Okay.
someone else's property. So
was
the
an overhang.
majority of that area is ours, but there's a strip just big enough that we can't really put new homes there. There's the room really. So we're just going to turn that long strip into like a place for dog walking. And
Okay, so it's going to be like a green space that the tenant can use?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, so we can keep moving here because we're now under a time deadline. What's the next invoice, Mr. Maida?
Yeah, the next few invoices are for our snow removal. The first one I have is 12/17/20. That was for $1,066.25. That was on
What's
was-
the name of that contractor?
Saba's Landscaping. They're in Howell.
Okay,
And yeah, these are one, two. Yeah, this is all snow plowing and salting basically for the park when we had snowstorms.
are all the Sabas landscaping invoices for that purpose?
Salt, I believe so, yes. Salt spraying, salt spraying, salt spraying. Yes, they're all for snow plowing and salting.
Okay, that brings us to the handwritten invoice.
Yeah, for $6,750. This is from New Way Tree Service. We had, yeah, this is for 16 trees we had removed throughout the property and some trimming of some other trees. As these trees get bigger and older and we've had some windstorms and whatnot, we have trees that start leaning, and every year they lean a little bit more and a little bit more, and eventually you come to the point where you're afraid that it might damage someone's property or injure someone. So we went through the park, we identified every badly leaning tree in the park, and we removed them all just as a preventative measure.
So as you removed, I apologize, have you implemented any trees?
How we planted it? We've planted some bushes throughout the park, but we haven't replaced any trees for these trees now.
Okay.
Could I ask where New Way Tree Services?
I'm sorry?
Where New Way Tree Services?
Looks like
Port-
their address is on the third page of the invoice.
Yeah,
Oh.
Port Monmouth, New Jersey.
That answer your question?
I'm looking. Oh, okay. Because I have to commend you guys. Your prices, I'm really impressed with how you shop for these prices.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. We do call around. Yeah, we do look for a best deal.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, for 16 trees, that was an excellent price. We don't use them for, sometimes we have an emergency, we'll have to call a different tree service because they're not the kind that responds to emergencies. But if you have a big project and you can give them a certain time, they'll give you a very good price for the job.
I mean, you really did do a lot of shopping. I mean, even your security system, that's, wow. Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, so I'm going to move on now. There's some invoices from Scott's Electrical Service. Please explain those, Mr. Maida.
Yes, the first one is 2068. That's the invoice number. The total was $600. That was to troubleshoot and replace lamppost tops. All of our streetlights are over 50 years old, and they have a certain life expectancy to them. And now we're reaching the point where they're getting so old that they're just starting to go out, and you can't. We replace the bulbs and the electric eyes in them, but sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes the interior, the ballast of the light goes bad, and it doesn't seem like there's a good way to change them. So we have to order new heads, and then the electrician comes out and puts the new heads on the poles. And that's
And
basically.
just to reiterate, you're responsible for the streets, all the street maintenance, and that includes all the lighting, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go on to the next invoice.
Okay. Yeah, this is another time when this is 2,600. This is 3031. Okay, this is part of a bill for part of a job. Actually, it was 3 of our streetlights went out on the same street, one in consecutive order, 3 of them, and basically there was a break in the wire somewhere, and electricians could not find it exactly where the break is because there are a lot of splices in the line, and basically we had to hire a plumber to run a pipe so we didn't have to cut all the driveways and all the walkways and then repave them, and yeah, it wouldn't look good, and it would be it would be very disruptive to the tenants. So we had a plumbing company come in and actually shoot the pipe horizontally underneath all the driveways and walkways, one to each next light following. You know, they ran a pipe, shot it under to the next pipe, and then the electricians came in, ran a wire, pulled the wire through all that piping, and then hooked up the 3 light poles with 3 new heads. So that was
Okay.
the 2600 includes the pulling of the wire itself, all the connections, and the installation of the new heads. The next bill was invoice 1214. That was for $1,844. This is for the project that we're talking about, the 4 homes that we're decommissioning. You know, the township of Howell wants all of the electric removed from the site, so there's no danger to the tenants. We had to go through a very specific process with that, with permits and working with JCP&L, and this is where they removed all of the electrical supplies from the pole to the homes.
Okay.
And this is next invoice is 2009. It's for $800. This is the same thing to replace street light heads.
All right.
And yeah, so we also needed a new breaker. That was for Eisenhower Street. So that was the tops for the lights and a breaker.
The next invoice is from A General Plumbing and Sewer Service.
Yes.
Explain that one.
Yeah, that's for $4,217. That's cut section of 2-inch galvanized pipe running from well pit. Yeah, we had a leak in the pipe that connects our 2 systems. We have 2 wells. We have one on one side of Route 547 and the other well on the other side of Route 547. And there's a connection pipe underneath the street. When they repaved 547, it seems to have caused a crack in our pipe because we developed a wet spot in the middle of the street there, and it would never go away. And we had someone come out, and someone from, I believe it was Pioneer Pipe, who ran the pipe in the new water pipe along 547. They came out too, and everyone determined that it was our pipe that was leaking. So basically we had to run a pipe inside a pipe so that we didn't have to trench the entire street. And it's a very busy road, and it would have been incredibly disruptive. So what they did is they cut the pipe at both ends, and then they ran a pipe through that pipe and then connected it again at the ends.
Okay, and are you required to have your 2 wells connected for redundancy purposes by DEP regulations?
Yes.
That's so if one well breaks down or one well system breaks down, the other well can continue to service all the other tenants.
Yes, yes. So no one is out of water. Yes.
Okay. Okay, those are our invoices.
Okay.
Did you just? I'm sorry. Did I skip one, or did you describe them all?
Yeah, we have another one from A General. It's for $13,690. That was a large water fix. That was the main was running under a home, so we could not repair the pipe where it was. We had to actually cut the pipe again at both ends and then run a new pipe underneath the house through that pipe. And then we had to run a whole new service to the home that the pipe was under, and including the neighbor. So we had to dig, I think it was a 25, 30-foot trench to the neighbor so that they would also have water because of the way the system is set up there on the end of the run there. And yeah, so that was a very large job. It took us a couple of days. There's a backhoe, I think 3 or 4 plumbers there for 2 days. So that was a large project.
So effectively, for this water and sewer, the water distribution system and the sewer collection system throughout your property, servicing all 150 sites, less the 4 you've had to eliminate now, you're effectively the utility company. You're responsible for all this maintenance.
Oh, yes, yes.
And it's 60 years old, 70 years old, I'm sorry, going on 80. If it breaks, you've got to fix it, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. has the pandemic affected your tenants economically at all from your perspective?
Well, yes, we have a certain amount of late payers right now, more than we did.
Okay, now, as a result of the federal legislation that was passed, I guess, a few weeks ago, or maybe now 6 weeks ago, and now the county is rolling out tenant aid programs. You're going to cooperate with all of your tenants in attempting to obtain all of that aid money for their benefit, so their rent can be paid, correct?
Yes, we anticipate that we will reach agreements with most of the tenants, yes.
Well, that's my second question. Right now, you can't do anything to enforce your leases because the courts are closed. If and when they open, is it your intention to try to work with your tenants and give them the opportunity to enter into repayment plans?
Absolutely.
Okay, and the proposed effective date for this increase is June 1st, 2021. That's all we have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, is anyone from the public is waiting to speak? No?
I don't see any hands raised. I'm kind of new at this, but I don't see any hands raised. It says there's one phone call in listener. So I'm guessing that's no, because I think that I would see something saying that somebody has their hand raised, so I don't see that.
Don't see anything either.
Before for the motion to approve the increase, I have a quick question. What is the type of help that you are providing to the people with the COVID effect?
You mean the people who haven't paid their rent, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Well, we've been waiting for Monmouth County to give us guidelines concerning the aid packages that they're going to offer. And just so I'm clear, we probably all have been familiar with the fact that the Congress eventually passed an aid package, and it includes billions of dollars for rental assistance. And that has to trickle down to the point where it's going to be administered by the counties. So right now, I'm not sure that Monmouth County has announced their final guidelines. So every landlord I represent, including this one, is anxious for that, because obviously we don't want evictions. We're in the business to collect rent. We want the tenants to pay their rent. And if they can't because they've lost their job, we want to help them get the aid. But they have to participate in that process. Then if they don't qualify or they don't participate, when the courts open, as indicated, my client's intention is to try to work with residents on payment plans. We've been doing that all along during the pandemic, and many tenants have had problems paying their rent, and then they've caught up. Other people just won't talk to management. Eventually, once the courts open, the communications will start again. And again, the intention is to work out payment plans based on everyone's circumstance. And that has to be an individualized assessment. For example, some people may have gotten both unemployment checks, meaning the state check plus the extra $600. Other people may not have gotten anything at all. Their circumstances are going to differ. Therefore, the payment arrangements will be different.
Just a follow-up question. There is, DCA has state aid for tenants that are impacted. That's available already. Have you guys researched that at all instead of waiting for Monmouth County?
I'm not aware of that, but I'm happy to follow up on it immediately as a result of your giving us this tip, because obviously, I mean, our goal is we want them to get the money.
Sure, absolutely.
So sure.
I don't know if it's eligible for mobile home parks, but it's eligible for renters. So it's worth looking into to make sure it covers pad rent as well.
Most programs that I'm aware of that would cover apartment rents would also cover mobile home lot rents. So that should be good news for us.
Yeah, good.
Does the tenant have to apply for these?
The tenant applies. So it would be a question of going to a website and having them apply, but then they do alert the landlords that the tenant has applied.
Okay, so it's like basically almost like Section 8 where the landlord would get it, but as long as the tenant applies for everything and the landlord gives all the stuff. No, thank you, Joan. I appreciate that. But is the landlord has to make it available to their tenants, at least make them knowledgeable of what is out there for them, so at least they could go out and apply and not know, because some of them don't know. Because so many things are changing continuously. So yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Jim, on that tip, as well as I hope the manager, Mr. Matus, I believe, would make it a point to do some research and let his tenants know on all these forgive me, I'm looking for the word in my mind, looking for these applications or help aid for them.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we move forward, we did receive one letter, and I just want to put it on the record. I've marked it as 01. It'll be included. It's a letter from a Mr. Neil Robiani. Mr. Hanlon referred to it earlier. He was objecting to the calculation of the 5%. He felt that it should have been lower, but I think that there was testimony proffered by Mr. Maida indicating the correct amount. But I did want to note for the record that Mr. Rebiani had written a letter, and it's part of the record for this hearing.
Okay. Now, from the board, a motion to approve the increase, please. Yeah,
I'm
can
sorry, I
you-
didn't hear that.
Oh, from the board, a motion to approve the increase, Ms. Siriani, a roll call, please.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 5%.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Mr. Orozco,
No.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Denoya,
No.
Ms. Jordan,
Yes,
Mr. Stanton,
No.
Mr. Rouet,
he's my.
I'm
alternate.
an alternate member, so I can't vote this evening.
okay.
That is all of
That's
the members.
Okay.
So it looks like, according to my math, the motion for a 5% increase has not passed.
Can I ask something, please?
Yes.
I noticed that there's the utility increase as well. But I didn't see how much that was for. Should that not be inclusive in the testimony? Or do I have a wrong page here? The garbage increase. Did I see how much that was for?
Yeah.
Mr. Maida, is there a garbage increase or is that the,
Yes, there was. I'm looking up right now exactly how much it was. I do not have it at this moment.
But isn't it a utility increase in automatic tax growth?
Sorry?
What was
Garbage increase is an automatic tax growth, is it not?
that?
I
It's
didn't.
like taxes and utilities and garbage, I thought was an automatic tax growth.
That is up to the park owner. I mean, I can look at our code. But typically it's, the costs and that. I think typically that is. I don't know if it is in this case, if it has been or not. My suspicion is that it would have been, so.
Mr. Hanlon, are you available?
I'm here. I'm looking at the ordinance also, but it's not in the application. So that's that's an issue, certainly.
Can I see on the page, let's see, 1, 2, 3, on the 4th page, at number H, number 1, says annual 5% increase plus garbage increase. Applied last application to the board. Oh, I apologize. That was for the last application to the board was January 17th of 2020.
This is the second one.
So that nature of the application was the increase plus the garbage increase. That's my mistake. I apologize. I thought that there was another garbage increase.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Bob Rouet. And while the attorneys are kind of looking up the statute, I've been going before the board and since 1999. And during all that time, several times this issue has come up, and has always been my understanding and my belief that the way the board has handled this is that the utility pass, the property tax pass through was automatic, and that some of the parks, my recollection is that the utilities were also an automatic, but I'm sure the attorneys can weigh in on what the statutory requirement is. But I know, remembering back through all those years, this issue coming up and then the board saying, oh yeah, those are automatic parts, beyond the 5% or whatever the board chooses to allow.
Yeah, good point, but I would like to recheck with the board to see how much will be the increase, because we are living in hard times when the people don't have money to live, no income. Sometimes they don't have money to eat, and we know it's only temporarily, but I think that we need to decide exactly the right amount to be fair with both parties.
I mean, if the motion at 5% did not pass. If the board or a member of the board wants to propose another motion based on the testimony before it for a rental increase less than 5%, they are free to do that.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
As I'm looking at this, and if I'm reading correctly, the last application was done last year for 5 annual increase as in addition to garbage increase. So now we have a second application in 2021 for the same exact thing. Am I correct?
They're entitled under our ordinances to apply for a rental increase every year in an amount not to exceed 5%.
I got that. But the thing is, as the chairman advised, yes, we're on we're unprecedented moments. And I do see his point of view that we're looking at where some people can't even eat. And I get that. When this was done, this was pre-COVID, but COVID was already being spoken about, even though it wasn't contained properly at the first prompt. Things were happening in 2020, which I understand. It's up to the chairman how he would like to proceed on what he would choose to want to do. But I just wanted to make it a point that we're at the second, I understand they're allowed to, but again, we're on unprecedented times right now.
The board, and the voting members of the board are entitled to, propose and vote on any increase that they want up to 5%. It's not a given that it will be 5%. The motion for a
That I did
5%
understand.
increase just failed. So it is up to the board to come up with an amount now that they are comfortable with under the circumstances and based on the evidence before it, that they'll permit the landlord.
Yes, Bill.
Hey, Joe, or everybody, I'd like to propose or make a motion for a 3% increase. Unprecedented times, yes, understood, and everybody deserves a little bit of a breather. But the property owners and landlords also deserve a little bit of relief as
Right.
well. Bills continue no matter what.
Yes, but there,
And would be a fair compromise on all ends. It helps a little bit and it shows good faith to their tenants as well.
I understand.
I'm going to
also-
second his motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. If we could have a roll.
Second.
call vote.
Yes.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Orozco,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Denoya,
Yes.
Ms. Jordan,
Yes,
Mr. Stanton,
Yes.
thank you.
All for motion to adjourn.
Okay, before you do that, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank all the board members for
Thank you.
volunteering their time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon.
You're welcome.
I think first we have to make a effective date, do we not?
In the application, the effective date requested was June 1st, so
June
that'll
1st.
So
reflect.
that's all okay. All right,
And that's correct, Mr. Hanlon, June 1?
Yes, that was the revised application.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
May we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.